it's 5:30. We'll call the August 3rd meeting of the Planning Commission to order. Call the roll, please.
Barnett? Here. Oh, all right. Bauman?
Here.
Demakis?
Here.
Fagan? Gates?
Here.
Hochhalter?
Here.
Coop? Leiter? Nestle?
Here.
Offerdahl?
Here.
Sessions?
Here.
Wagonist? And Iverson.
Here.
All right.
Here we have quorum. We'll rise for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Moving on to approval of the July 7th, 2021 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? So moved by Commissioner Coop. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Bauman. Any discussion? All right, call the roll, please.
Coop?
Yes.
Bauman?
Yes.
Demakis?
Yes.
Fagan? Oh, right, Fagan's out here. He is? Is that what?
Is he online?
Are you online, Fagan? Anyway, Hochhalter?
Yes.
Yep, did Coop. Nestle?
Yes.
Offerdahl?
Yes.
Sessions?
Yes.
Wagonist? Iverson?
Yes.
And then back up to Barnett. And, yep, all right.
Motion carries. The first item on the agenda has been withdrawn, item number 5, so we will move on to item number 6, which is a future land use map amendment, zoning map amendment, and subdivision. It's a request on an application from Donna Bai representing the Souris River Joint Water Resource District and William and Laverne Erdman, owners for a zoning map amendment and subdivision plat for the purpose of facilitating future construction of phase M, is that MI 5? Of the flood control, thank you, of the flood control project. The proposed subdivision is being known as lots 1 and 2, Erdman second subdivision, being a replat of lot 4, Thurston second edition, and outlot 4, all in the southwest of section 18, township 155 north, range 82 west. Further, a future land use map amendment from industrial to public, semi-public, and a zoning map amendment from M1 light industrial to P public zone is requested on lots 1 through 3 of Thurston's second edition and proposed lot 2 of Erdman's second division. These properties are located at 1301, 1405, 1455, 1505, and 1515 Railway Avenue. So with that, we'll turn it over to staff for the report, please.
Right, thank you, Chairman Demakis. So this one is part of the ongoing flood control process, specifically part of MI5, like you mentioned. Where before we were looking at way on the west side of town at WC-1, now we're looking at MI5. Clicker's not working. Oh, seem to be having some technical difficulties with the clicker. There we go. So looking at an aerial view of the property, I went and I color-coded some of the properties because there's a lot going on here ultimately. So the properties are outlined in white, are just subject to the rezoning, so that's just Thurston's, oh, okay then. Just Thurston's second edition lots 1 through 3. The property outlined in yellow is subject to both the subdivision request and the rezoning to public. That is the proposed lot 2 of the Erdman's second edition. The one that's outlined in red is just subject to the subdivision. Nothing's changing on that. And the ones outlined in white and yellow are the ones that are subject to the future land use map amendment. So this is a copy of the preliminary plat for the subdivision. In this case, both properties do meet the minimum requirements that we have for their respective zoning districts that they're either staying as or going to. And this is the existing zoning for the site. So currently, all the properties are designated as M1 Light Industrial District. And the 4 I mentioned previously will be going from that designation to a public designation. Looking at the future land use map, all the properties are currently designated as being industrial on the future land use map, and the 4 that are being rezoned, being Thurston's second edition lots 1 through 3, and the proposed lot 2 of Erdman's subdivision are all going to public, semi-public on the future land use map. Looking a bit more at the master plan for it, because that's also what we're looking at here tonight. Going from east to west, we have a exterior kind of drainage ditch that's actually what's prompting the subdivision in the first place. This is a ways from the levee, but this is part of the ongoing flood control. That's in that dark bluish, kind of blackish color. Next to that, we have the levee itself, in the yellowish greenish. Then we have the flood retention pond, or the water retention pond that is to the east of that. That's the large blue shape on there. And finally, west of that and abutting 13th Street northeast is the actual the pump station they plan on putting out there. And actually, I suppose I should also mention that overall with this master plan, most of that area is really going to be vacant. So there's currently different structures on there. They're either planning on being removed to a different site or being demoed, with actually the exception of the one that is existing on the Erdman's proposed Lot 1. And so this is more of a macro view of the overall plan itself. Some of the specifics, such as landscaping, other things like that, are be coming up more so when we get to our specific site plan evaluations for it. And so these are the findings of fact. They're all in the staff report. There's 10 of them, and because I'm not going to spend any extra time going over those. Now, for the recommendations, staff recommends Planning Commission adopt the findings of fact and recommend approval of City Council of Erdman's second subdivision plat, the zoning map amendment from M1 Light Industrial to P Public Zone, and a future land use map amendment for industrial to public, semi-public for lots 1 through 3, Thurston's second edition, and proposed lot 2 Erdman's subdivision, and a master plan for those properties. I should note, as a difference from what was actually in the staff reports we sent out to this, is that the initial mention in the recommendation for Erdman's second subdivision did initially say Erdman's second addition, and the applicant reached out to us and it was an error and we corrected it. So this is what we're actually recommending. It's a little bit different from what we sent you initially. And so this is all subject to one condition, and that's just the boilerplate condition that we have for any subdivision. They have to record it within 6 months of approval by City Council, and if they don't, the plat will expire. Right, if you have any questions, I'll stand for them.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions from the commission for staff? Very good. Seeing none, then, we will open the public hearing. Is there anybody present who wishes to speak on behalf of the application? Please come forward. Give us your name. I don't know, do we still have a sign-in sheet up there? Sign in on the sign-in sheet if you would.
Good evening. My name is Donna Bai. I represent Houston Engineering this evening. The client is the City of Minot and Mr. and Mrs. Erdman. I'm here for any additional questions that maybe need to answer that Peter did not cover on his initial statements.
Very good. Thank you. Does the commission have any question for the applicant's representative? Doesn't look like we have any right now. If we do, we'll let you know. All right. Thanks. Anybody else who wishes to speak on this matter, either for or against? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing then, and we'll turn it over to the commission.
Motion to approve based on staff finding of fact and conditions.
It's motion by Commissioner Wagoness to approve based upon the findings of facts and recommendation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Barnett. Your name tag is not in the right
Think
spot.
yours.
Oh, did we switch?
Confusing.
Any discussion?
Causing trouble.
All right, seeing no discussion, we will call the roll, please.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Tamakis, Gates,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Nestle,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
Wagonist,
Yes.
and Iverson.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is a variance request by Jesse Lieberg, representing Gate City Bank, for a variance to the setbacks for a pylon sign. Sign is proposed to replace the existing pole sign for Gate City Bank located at the northeast corner of 10th Street Southwest and 31st Avenue Southwest. The setback is requested to be reduced from 25 feet to 20 from the property line along 10th Street Southwest and from 40 feet to 11.5 feet from the line along 31st Avenue. The legal description for the property is Lot 2 Prairie Green 23rd, and the street location is 924 31st Avenue Southwest. I will turn it over to staff for the report, and I believe also 7 and 8 are very much intertwined, so I think they're kind of going to overlap here as well.
Thank you, Chairman Dominguez and Commission. So the site is located at the northeast corner of 31st Avenue Southwest and 10th Street Southwest. Subject property is highlighted in yellow. The notification area is provided in blue. The property is zoned C2 General Commercial. The future land use map designates this property as commercial. So there exists a sign presently at that location. So the proposed location and the current location are effectively the same. It's provided in blue. Following our strict application of the standards, following the strict application of our standards, the location is provided in red. So red would be what would be required under our current code, and blue is what's requested. So the current Gate City sign is classified as a pole sign within the sign code. The proposed sign is classified as a pylon sign. The primary difference is the poles within a pylon sign are enclosed and not visible. Prior to receipt of this application, staff was already reviewing other cities' regulations as they pertain to pylon signs. Bismarck, Grand Forks, and Fargo provide no setbacks for pylon signs, subject to ensuring there's no obscuration of the site triangle. The City Engineering Department has reviewed the sign, and there will be no interference with the visibility triangle if a variance is granted. So while evaluating how other communities regulate certain uses and apply development standards has its merit, this alone is insufficient to grant a variance. So more importantly, the comprehensive plan provides support in the form of multiple goals and policies that are complied with. So I'll read off aesthetics goal number 2. So promote improved building, landscaping, and signage aesthetics for all areas and uses through strong ordinances. Aesthetics goal number 2. Policy 2, develop consistent zoning standards for all types of signage in all zoning districts. So by and large, pylon signs are more aesthetically pleasing than simple pole signs. So, and this would align with our comp plan. So findings of fact. So a unique hardship does exist where the city of Minot is the only city of the 4 largest cities in North Dakota to regulate pylon signs differently than pole signs, and the granting of the variance is supported by the comprehensive plan. And the Planning Commission has the authority to hear this case and make a final decision. So the recommendation from staff is to approve the variances requested by the applicant. And I should also add quickly that in September, we will be bringing forward a code amendment to align our sign regulations as far as they apply to pylon signs to reflect more what other cities, larger cities, are doing with regard to treating them similarly to pole signs, subject to review by our traffic engineer for any visibility triangle issues. So that'll be presented next month. I'll stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff?
Mr. Chairman, I got a question, if I may.
Sure, go ahead.
I'm just curious, I think now you clarified traffic engineer verifies the visibility triangle, is that correct?
That's correct.
Can we just flip back to the proposed sign? My only concern here, I know on the South Broad, I don't know if we're doing these together or separate, but there's just observation today driving by, there could be an issue with the sign on the right if that's the South Broadway location on that intersection. So I was just curious, has it been approved already, this design? And of course, as I stated earlier, who actually approves these things for visibility?
That would be the traffic engineer. So we
Okay.
did have the traffic engineer evaluate the signs as they were with regard to the setbacks that were provided from the property boundary as proposed. And then they determined what the site triangle was. So it's a variety of different factors that determine what the site triangle is, whether it's a local road collector, arterial, the speed of the roadway, whether it's a controlled intersection via stop sign or stop lights. All those factors are taken into consideration in determining what the visibility triangle is. So when I say site triangle, visibility triangle, those are interchangeable. And again, they evaluated both signs as they're proposed to be placed and the exact location of the existing signs and determined that they were adequate and did not interfere with the site triangle.
What would, if I can, it's a follow-up question, what would happen then if it was deemed, it was approved now and it was deemed to be an issue in the future, what would happen?
Sure. Chairman Dominguez, Commissioner Wiganest, so if the intersection changed and then there was a site obstruction, I would have to defer to engineering on exactly how we treat site triangle issues that were created following a change in the intersection. So
I can simplify it even maybe more. I mean, if it proved to be an issue, it could be changed. I guess that's as simple as my question was. Can it be changed after the fact?
Commissioners, hello. I'm Emily Hiddle, the Assistant City Engineer. We regularly evaluate different site triangle issues. The things that we take into account that Stefan had run the calculations on, if those don't change, I don't think it would become an issue if it isn't right now. I think if in the future something changed with different roadway geometries or things, I think as a part of any proposed project, we'd address it at that time. And then just generally speaking, when we do have obstructions to the triangle, we notify the property owners and they have a certain amount of time to take corrective action, or else we do that for them,
Okay.
just generally speaking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just one more quick thing. Is this the 31st location here?
that's correct, yes.
Will we have a proposed sign for the other location?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Real good. Thank you.
Very good. Any further questions for staff on the report? Commissioner Baumann, go
Commissioner
ahead, sir.
Gates,
Well, Commissioner Gates can go first.
Go ahead, Commissioner Gates.
sorry.
No, that's okay.
Just a follow-up, one more on that site triangle. Was that completed recently? Because I know that intersection recently also got rid of their traffic light. Was that site triangle completed after the traffic light was removed? Is there like a timeline on that in any way?
Yes, it was done after.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Baumann, you are up, sir.
More a housekeeping question. So if our body were to approve a variance today, if the applicant were to make any other additional changes to those signs, or if the property were to change hands and be owned by someone else, the variance would need to be applied for again, correct? This would not be a grandfathered in perpetuity granting?
Chairman Dominguez, Commissioner Baumann, variances run with the land, not the property owner at the time of issuance. So it would run with the land and be effectively conveyed to the new property owner should a new property owner acquire the property.
Okay, and if the applicant were to decide, 5 to 10 years that they wanted to do an additional revamp of their signage, would we need to approve another variance, or would that be grandfathered also?
That would also be grandfathered so long as it didn't expand further into the setbacks.
Okay, thanks.
Very good, thank you. Any further questions for staff from the commission? All right, hearing none, we will move on to the public hearing. Is there anybody present who wishes to speak on this application? Either for or against, please come on up. All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing, turn it over to the commission.
Move to approve based on staff finding of facts and recommendations.
Motion to approve from Commissioner Coop based on findings of facts and recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Excuse me. Second by, I'm sorry, I didn't, Nostal? Oh, Sessions, okay, I wasn't looking. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll call the roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Tomekis, Gates,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Nestle,
Yes.
Offerl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
Wagonist, and Iverson.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries. Agenda item number 8 follows along the same lines. Same applicant, Jesse Lieberg, representing Minot Town and Country Investors LLP, for a variance in regards to a pylon sign. It's proposed to replace the existing pole sign for Gate City Bank located on the northeast corner of 11th Avenue Southwest and South Broadway. The setback is requested to be reduced from 40 feet to 0.5 feet from the property line along South Broadway, and from 40 feet to 3.5 feet from the property line along 11th Avenue Southwest. The property is legally known as Wesley's Addition, all of Block 1, less the north 195 feet, and less Wesley's Second Addition. It's located at 1017 South Broadway. We'll turn it over to staff.
Thank you, Chairman Dominguez. So for the sake of brevity, a lot of what I would be talking about would be repetitive. It sounds like Commissioner Wagonist has, I can at least bring up the illustrations. So the same premise, same recommendation from staff applies here, the same findings of fact, other than, of course, the location is different. So this one is on the northeast corner of South Broadway and 11th Avenue Southwest. And I'll bring up a rendering, again, proposed location versus required location in the code. And new sign versus the existing sign. So I will, again, for brevity's sake, I will stand for questions.
Is there any questions from the commission for staff? All right, seeing none, thank you, sir. We will open the public hearing on this item. Is there anybody present that wishes to speak for or against this item on the agenda? Anybody at all? All right, seeing none, we will close the public hearing then and turn it over to the commission.
Motion to approve based on the staff findings of fact and recommendations.
Motion by Commissioner Offerdahl to approve based on findings, facts, and recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Gates.
Second by Commissioner Coop. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
My only concern with this, I supported the other proposed change. My issue with this one is, I believe there is I'm not a traffic engineer, but I believe there is a visibility triangle issue here on, when you pull up beside this sign, you just cannot see to the north. So therefore, I will not be supporting this, this one for that reason.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion?
Well,
Commissioner Robin, go ahead.
I may be a little bit contrarian. I actually see this sign from my office every day, so I know it quite well. And I think that because of the sidewalk areas around it, the sign is not the issue. I think the traffic light actually causes more of an obstruction from the vehicle. So I guess I'm curious what our traffic engineer has said about it and what his professional opinion is on it before forming an opinion here.
Sure. Chairman Dominguez, Commissioner Baumann, so keep in mind that the site triangle at a controlled intersection is going to be very different than uncontrolled. So in this case, the closest lane to the sign that you would otherwise think that you can't see to the north, it would be controlled. So you wouldn't be going straight through the intersection. You wouldn't be going left in that lane. But if you wanted to go right, then you're looking to your left, of course, the opposite direction of the sign. And so those are factors that are taken into consideration when developing a site triangle on a multi-lane street. So that's why, yes, it's closer. Also keep in mind the right-of-way widths are a lot larger on arterials versus collectors versus local roads, and so that automatically sets some additional space. So in this instance, it appears that you would be looking right, can't see oncoming traffic, but you would never be taking a left or going straight through the intersection without a green, and so it'd be controlled. Therefore, you don't need to necessarily see oncoming traffic directly. So those are some of the factors that are taken into consideration, and that's why the traffic engineer calculated it, determined what it was, and deemed it to be okay. If we go any more in depth, I'm going to have to defer to Emily.
Thank you. Anything further in the discussion? All right, we'll close discussion then and call the roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Tomakis,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Holcoulter,
Yeah.
Coop,
Yes.
Nestle,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
Wagonist,
No.
and Iverson.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries. Item number 9 is a variance request on an application from John Lasky, representing Northwest Equipment Company, for a variance to the curbing and conventional paving requirements contained in section 6.1-5B and C. In addition, a variance to section 4.1-6C related to screening of inoperable vehicles stored outside is requested to be eliminated as a requirement. Further, a variance to the landscaping requirements contained in Article 7 to allow a reduction in landscaping to only require 2 trees, a 4-foot landscape area along the north of the building, and a landscape area along the east side of the building, as shown on the site plan provided with the application. Finally, a variance to section 6.1-5A, 2.2 regarding paving for Americans with Disabilities Act requirement is requested. Property is legally known as Lot 5, TUR Second Edition, located at 6200 Highway 2 East. I'll turn it over to staff for the report.
Thank you, Chairman Dominguez. So the property is located between 59th Street Southeast and 64th Street Southeast on the south side of Highway 2. So yellow is the subject property. The blue line would be the city limits, and then the pink line would be the 600-foot notification area. So the property is zoned C2 General Commercial. Future land use designation is commercial. So this slide shows the thresholds of building or site expansion which trigger full compliance or closer compliance with the current ordinance. There are other improvement thresholds that apply to the specific expansion, but for the sake of brevity, again, I'll focus on the pertinent section of the code that triggers full compliance. The building expansion proposed by the applicant is more than 80%, so full compliance is required. So this would be full compliance with the parking, paving, landscaping, and screening. I can go in more detail on this if I need, otherwise I'm going to just move on. So here's desired versus required. Landscaping, so 2 street trees are desired, 4-foot landscaping area along the north and the east side of the building. What's required is the 3 street trees, 4-foot landscape area along the north side of the building, and then 20 square foot of parking lot landscaping for each parking space to be placed in perimeter of parking lot and/or parking lot islands. So as far as non-conforming paving and screening requirements, the desire is to have no paving and no screening of inoperable vehicles. What is required is paving of apron, parking stalls, and drive aisles. And what is required is the screening of inoperable vehicles. Further desired is, here's some desired items that fall within the Americans with Disability Act and City of Minot Municipal Code. I'll just note that the Planning Commission has no authority to vary requirements outside of the land development ordinance. That's kind of where the purview of this commission is contained within. So desired is just opposed to post an ADA sign and no reduction in apron or approach width. What's required is ADA spaces to provide a firm, stable, and slip-resistant surface coming from the ADA compliant parking stall to the ADA compliant entryway into the commercial structure. In addition, so the municipal code limits the maximum driveway width in a commercial district to 35 feet. So nearby property site photos, so the applicant has mentioned that there's other properties that don't comply or lack compliance with some of these requirements. Looking from the northeast at a nearby location, note the paved parking of RDO Equipment Company. Here's a paved ADA compliant spot. Another nearby location. Is it the same one? Okay, it's the same location. Thank you for the clarification. And then more of this site is also paved. So applicable variance criteria for approval. Staff finds the following criteria applicable to the variance application. So exceptional practical difficulties. So staff finds there exists no exceptional practical difficulties as the design standards could be adhered to and the project would move forward. Staff finds there's no unique hardship as the property is not unique and hardships may not include economic or fiscal considerations. Staff finds with regard to the neighborhood, the granting of a variance would prevent the commercial neighborhood from continuing to improve in character. And with regard to the comprehensive plan, staff finds the granting of a variance is contrary to the 2012 City of Minot Comp Plan, specifically Aesthetics Goal 1 and 2. And so I'll go ahead and read 1 and 2 off. So aesthetics goal number 1 is to ensure that the city's aesthetic character for residents, visitors, and passersby is enhanced through high-quality infrastructure and the visual attractiveness of properties. Aesthetics goal number 2 is to promote improved building, landscaping, and signage aesthetics for all areas and uses through strong ordinances. We did receive 1 written comment. Most of the others were, I think this is the only one regarding this application. So I'll read it to you since we indicated to the writer that we would. So having received your letter about the variance that has been applied for by John Lasky with Northwest Equipment, I have a couple of concerns. Since I own the property on 3 sides of his property, one of the concerns would be the drainage off of his property onto mine and how that would be handled. We have had problems in the past when heavy rains occur. The water runs to the northeast corner of his property and across the front of mine, down the frontage road to a culvert crossing the frontage road. This could be a serious problem if there should be oil or other liquid spilled from vehicles and other sources that could carry to my property. There's another culvert to the west that should be considered. Another concern would be issues that may be created from stored vehicles or equipment or whatever encroaching into my access on his west side of the property I have to the south. This has not been a problem in the past, but I want to make sure this will not create one. Screening would need to be planned as I would not care to have it go any further to the north than the front of my building and create visibility problems for traffic going up or down the frontage road. There's also utilities along the west side of my building that should remain accessible. I would not care to see the property turned into an inoperable vehicle storage yard. Thanks for the opportunity to comment. and this was from Premier Power Plants and Pumps. So here's the findings of fact. It summarizes the staff's presentation that just went through. In addition, more facts. And staff is recommending denial of the application. I do want to note that if denied, the applicant will have 10 business days to submit an appeal to the Planning Division. City Council would hear the appeal upon meeting the noticing requirements, which include neighboring property owner, mailings twice in the newspaper, and posting on our website. So once we've done that, then we could bring it before City Council upon request. And I will stand for questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff on the report from the commission? Very good. I don't see any, so thank you, sir. We will go on and open the public hearing on this matter. Is there anybody present who wishes to speak on this matter? Please come forward, give us your name, who you represent. Please sign in as well. Just 1 second.
Okay, I'm John Lasky from Northwestern Equipment. Myself and my family have owned businesses and property in Minot area since the 50s, actually. So we're not new to the town. Unfortunately, or fortunately, whichever you want to look at it, it's the first time I ever had to come up to Planning Commission. There are a number of things. The main issue we have and the main variance that we're actually looking for, would like, is the paving portion of it. The building that we're adding on to our new property is entirely to the south side of the building, south end of the building only, and does not change anything across the frontage, which is there right now. So it's 60 plus feet behind where our building is now, another 45 feet beyond that. Second, the road that is coming into our location, the frontage road, which is shown on one of the exhibits that you had, I'd love to go through these one at a time, but I'll try to be very brief. Okay, the frontage road that goes along there is an unmaintained road that, according to Ward County, is owned by the Ned Rose Township. We had a difficulty with that road to the point where it was so badly beat up that we ended up having to put pavement on it. We called the township, and the township will not bring a grader out. They will not. We remove all our own snow. All of the businesses along that road remove our own snow, maintain that property, maintain that building. It is a gravel road, and I'm being asked to put concrete approach onto a gravel road, which is like, I don't know if any of you have ever put a concrete beside a gravel road. You're asking for a very large drop in a couple of years as the pavement, or as the gravel settles. So it doesn't make sense, logical sense. I didn't think I was trying to do variances based on what was logical. It doesn't make sense to pave the area. If you want a small paving area, that's one thing, but I'm being asked to pave the entire property of concrete when there is no access to our property without going across a very rugged gravel road at the best. We had hoped to do this addition. We're planning on adding up to four people, mostly techs, some service writers, and some office staff, to increase the output of our property, or of the property itself. More bays is what we were making. We're making more shop bays. We work on diesel pickups primarily. The diesel pickups we work on, when it says that it's a vehicle that is inoperable, the only reason it's inoperable is that we haven't had a chance to work on it yet. When they come in, just like any other auto repair, Some of them are not running. So that's the reason for that portion of the variance. I'm not storing trucks on the lot that, just for storage purposes. I strictly store them, waiting for them for shop space to bring them into the building. The letter that was received, I hadn't received that until just now. The neighbor that has it on three sides, yes, he does. There's a small portion. Again, this picture here, it shows that portion on the west side that drives down as an access in, and he owns the property to the east side, so he owns those two parts there. When we did have a difficulty with any water, we worked with him, and the northeast corner of our property is actually a dip there, which is a holding pond or holding area with access to send the water across the frontage road into the ditch, which is what we were told we were supposed to do or should do. So that's what is that set up for. This will not change the flow of the water in any way. It is still flowing, and we're drainage going straight to that small area in the front there. The trees are in front. We had requested 2. If we have to go to 3, I don't have a problem with that. I'd prefer the 2 to leave the front center open so you can see the front of the building. That's where our signage is in front of the building. I'm missing some of the issues that were on there. Can I go through those? Appreciate that. There, that would be first one. The landscaping, I thought we were actually asking for the landscaping that you were requesting by putting on the north side of the building and part of the east where it's the office portion of it, not the shop doors, but the office portion of it, building a garden, basically building a raised garden at that point to try and give some more green and better view from the highway. The 2 trees would be put on the 2 corners or near the 2 corners of the building property. There are no trees out there right now on anywhere on that frontage road. So we're actually, would already be above all the neighbors. Okay, go to the next one, please. I believe I talked about the paving and the screening inoperable vehicles. The ADA sign or ADA spots. After we had mentioned this to Sean Weeks, our engineer that we've been working with up here, who was not able to come, he had another obligation, we could not find anywhere in the ADA requirements that say it has to be paved. We have an extremely solid gravel spot with concrete aprons coming up to the doorway. We're willing to put signs up there in specific spots specifically for the ADA and still be able to we will be in compliance with all ADA regulations. The 35-foot driveway, I already mentioned that. That has to do with we're coming off of this gravel road that's not a gravel road. It's just a unmaintained gravel road that we are maintaining and our neighbors are maintaining only. Okay, so next one, please. As far as RDO is concerned, RDO is actually further, a little bit east of us. They are 3 properties to the east of us, and they are right by one of the entrances, the end of the frontage road that goes right out onto the highway. They actually did put a thin layer of asphalt on their portion of the frontage road right in front of their place. And when they did that, they put the small spots, and when they built the building, they put the concrete aprons. We have concrete aprons also, not in front of the entrance to our house or into the main walk-in entrance, but we are putting 15-foot concrete aprons all the way around the east side and north side of the building where we're going to be parking the vehicles waiting to come into the shop, so that we have good access into there. I suppose technically I could use that and use that as an ADA spot, but it would block one of our spots just when the people are there. But this is also RDO building at the end of their property. And the next sheet is also for their own operation because they run forklifts and fork trucks around the back. The next picture. This is actually the backyard, the screened-in area. A large majority of their property is gravel, similar to what we're looking at is a heavy-duty, very thick asset. Ours is actually has concrete bits in it, so it makes it a very solid base. They use a fork truck back there, and that's the reason that they have all that paved back there. I think that was all the questions, I believe that. Are there any questions for me? I'd be glad to try and answer some.
Are there any questions from the commission?
Mr. Lasky,
Yes.
how many vehicles are currently parked awaiting repair, or how many do you anticipate once you have your your expansion?
Well, right now, we have more than we want because because we don't have enough room for them in the shop. So we have to move vehicles back and forth, in and out. I don't know the exact number. We're right around 14 or 15 there between vehicles that are being waited to work on or people waiting to pick them up.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Any further questions from the commission? Hey, Mr. Van Dyke, can you go back to the slide that shows the requirements for a variance that need to be met for a second? I have a question for you, sir. Sure. Once this is up, I would like for you to identify for me what exactly your position is that falls under the granting of a variance, because I don't see undue hardship. I don't see anything that's been put in front of me that raises to the level of a variance. So I would like you to explain it to me.
Well, the variance is on the paving. Pardon?
How you meet these requirements, which are in the code for a variance.
Is there a unique hardship in my property? No. The neighborhood, 90% of the people in that neighborhood do not have any paving. He has one that did. There is actually one other building further down that actually has about a 20 by 20 piece of asphalt down in the front of their building. It used to be Bechtold Excavating, is now FM Excavating, I believe. So they were a paving company. They put it in when they built the building, basically as part of their thing. The balance of them do not have any paving whatsoever anywhere down the line. So the neighborhood is probably the number one reason for the variance.
You have no practical difficulties with your design that make compliance?
The difficulty with that would be we would not have enough room for vehicles. No, probably not. I don't believe we would have enough room. And the fact that if there is any, the main thing is making sure that we have enough room for the vehicles.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
All right, seeing none, thank you, sir. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing and turn it over to the commission.
Motion to deny based on staff finding of fact.
Motion by Commissioner Wagness to deny based upon staff finding of fact and recommendations. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Coop. Is there any discussion from the commission? All right, seeing none, we will call the roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Temakis,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Nestle,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
Wagonist, and Iverson.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries, the request is denied. That brings us to other business. And the only other business we have is chair and vice chair selection.
Before we do that.
Sure, go ahead.
If I may, we have a new commissioner, yes?
I was getting to that.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I jumped the gun. I will sit on my hands then.
No problem. So we'll take care of the chair and the vice chair matter first. Is there are there any nominations for chair?
Mr. Chairman, I'll nominate Commissioner Demakis for chairman.
Well,
And
thank
do you want them individually, or would you accept them together?
Sure, I'll take however you wish to make.
And I'll nominate Commissioner Offerdahl for vice chair.
So Commissioner Demakis and Commissioner Offerdahl have been nominated for chair and vice chair respectively. We'd better get a second, yeah. Is there a second to the nomination?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Sessions. Any discussion, or any further nominations? All right, seeing none then. I don't think we need any discussion, so we'll call the roll.
Barnett,
Yes.
Bauman,
Yes.
Demakis,
Yes.
Gates,
Yes.
Hochhalter,
Yes.
Coop,
Yes.
Nestle,
Yes.
Offerdahl,
Yes.
Sessions,
Yes.
Wagonist,
Yes.
and Iverson.
Yes.
All right.
Motion carries, so we'll continue on as is for another year. And then the other item that was on my list, Commissioner Bauman was getting to, was we do have a new commissioner. Commissioner Erin Iverson now joins us. John, refresh my memory whose position she is taking, though.
Commissioner Severson.
There we go, thank you. So, welcome. I think you got a pretty good feel of how things go tonight. It's pretty laid back, not too crazy around here. But we look forward to your input and welcome aboard. All right, well, I don't have anything further. There's nothing else from the commission. We are adjourned. Thanks, guys.
Roll call.